for coming.
Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you, Suzanne, for collaborating on this and allowing me to hang this piece in the gallery. So I appreciate that. And yes, on this beautiful day that you should all want to come here. So thank you. Well, initially, this was in early February, I guess. Things were opening up, pandemic was coming to an end, and I thought I would go paint a painting that was fresh and full of hope and kids calling each other, and I wasn't quite sure where I was going with it, but something of that sort. And as we were listening to the news, we heard that there was a massing of troops on the Ukrainian border, and could this possibly mean that there might be an invasion? And I thought, no, it can't be. But soon my disbelief became reality. I mean, it was actually going to happen, and before we knew it was February 24th, and Mr. Putin had invaded Ukraine. And then we started seeing images of destruction, of heartache, of the horrors of war. And I went back into the studio at some point and saw the painting as it had been, and I went, no, totally wrong. I have to make this about something else, something that I feel. And before I knew it, I had, it was very abstract what I did. I just put paint on. I didn't know what really I was doing and why I was doing it, but anyway, out of that abstraction, the background came to be, and also the child who is dressed in some kind of teddy bear clothing, and the coloring of the dress also changed. It was a bit of a challenge to get the right coloring for the shadow of the dress, because that color can be a little, I don't know what the word is, but too much of it is just too much of it. And anyway, yeah, it evolved on its own, really. I found that I could put the yellow contrast to the blue, and that of course is the Ukrainian flag. Now, as I was painting this, or when I was close to finishing it, I thought, there is no way I can sell this. I'm not going to make money off somebody else's paint. If I'm painting something that reflects somebody else's pain, it has to go to them. And I also reflected on my mother. This painting is a bit in memory of my mother, because she herself was a refugee who escaped from Nazi Germany and went to Africa, and she married my father there, and that's why I was raised there. But it's just that the people that go through this, it's from one day to the next. One day you have hope. My mother was going to be she was going to study chemistry, and from one day to the next, things changed, and she ended up marrying a farmer in Africa. But she had a happy life, I think. Anyway, so this is really to just talk about the figure herself. She standing strong and proud and defiant. And this is what I find so admirable about the Ukrainian people, that they, despite the huge odds that they are up against, they have determined to fight for their country, to fight for what they believe in, and it needs to be recognized. And so this is my contribution to that. Well, what else can I say? It's I hope it goes to a nice home eventually. Anyway, and I'm glad that there is this gathering of people just to pass the word on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you.
We'll definitely have you all ask any questions, but I guess Veronica's not looking very close to the label here, because if she had, she would have seen it sold this morning.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh!
Oh!
I didn't even see that! Oh,
That's
and who's
awesome!
the person who gets it?
Your friend Susan Oliveri.
Oh, wonderful.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
She might still be coming, I'm not sure.
Oh wow.
She came running in this morning.
Oh wow. I'm touched. Really. Wow, well that's great news.
That's great news. So does anyone have any questions or comments or anything, Luann?
Yeah, so just the three men, I see the one person with the mask, and what do the other two represent?
Yeah, the soldier, there was an image. I mean, this is out of my head, so it's not really specifically anybody, but there was an image of the what are they? The pastors, the religious.
Oh, the one.
You know, and they were standing at the grave, and it looked like that. They had the beard and the caftans and a big cross, you know. And ordinary people are picking up arms and becoming soldiers. I suppose he might actually be a soldier that's, you know, has to defend what he can, and you know, they're so brave. I mean, they're up against so much. I mean, today's news again. They, you know, they hold out in Mariupol. That's, you know, they stood up to them so long. But anyway, I hope and pray for the best. Whatever that may be. So that's yeah.
Anyone else?
Oh,
Tell us about the flowers.
yes. Well, I never really knew much about Ukraine, to be honest. And of course, now you see the sunflowers and the blue sky, and it means. And it's a land that's very rich. It's the soil. It's the place where they harvest the grains and so on. And it's part of the Ukrainian look, that identification, and they, you know, that yellow flower there again, and it's yeah, I thought I'd put it in. It's not quite a sunflower what I did, but it's yellow flower.
I also feel
yeah.
like it gives hope.
Yeah,
like
yes,
hope.
sunflowers, you know, they follow the sun. I don't know, there's a lot of symbolism in the yellow flower like that, I suppose. Yeah, the figures that came into this, they just sort of came out of the abstraction background. I would think this is a lot of the older people had to stay behind because for whatever reason, maybe they didn't want to leave. When you're older, you kind of want to stick it out, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horror in losing a home in a bomb blast. I mean, there's so I guess that's why those faces are there. Way back when, in my former life, I was an illustrator, and so I still, some ways, illustrate. I still imagine my images. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, I have a question. I'm curious, the child in the painting, did you say that was added after the original
Yes.
composition you had planned? Can you
Yes,
talk about
because
that?
originally I just had this one figure. I knew I was going to put other figures in, but I had a totally different direction that I thought I'd follow. But then I had done abstract markings, and out of the abstract marking, I built this face came out, this child's face. I think that is also, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like for a child to go through this where you don't understand the world at all. And I have to say, this is, excuse me, this is allergies. I mean, this is not the first city or country that's suffered like this. I mean, before this there was Chechnya and Aleppo, and because they didn't belong or weren't threatening Europe, my consciousness was more awakened now. Yeah, but I would assume that the tragedies and what they went through were no less horrific. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening, and if you have any more questions, I'll be just wandering around a little bit. And
It looks like she's talking on a cell phone.
yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
yeah, that's her cell phone. Yes,
Okay.
which really symbolizes that's the only connection she has to the before and after. She's got this. It's also going to have the photographs and memories of what it was before and after, and also a way of connecting with the loved ones she might have lost. She's trying to find them, and the cell phone really plays a major role in today's world, and I think will probably have been part of what a lot of people hung on to. You know, that's the way they could reach out to people. And of course, when you don't have the plug to plug it in, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But at that moment, she's just lost her home. She's just, you know, the flames and of destructions all around her, and that's the one thing she has. She can connect to the outside world. Yeah.
So I thank you very much for coming also, and I'm wondering what else you have in store for us. Do you have something else on the easel right now that you're working on that you can share?
It's percolating in here.
It's percolating.
And I definitely, I always am doing something or other, and I very often find it's a reflection of our feel inside. So,
As her husband, I'm not allowed in the studio.
She's always in there, that's okay.
Okay,
I'm not allowed to say anything.
That's different, right?
Oh, we'll look forward to the surprise then.
Thank you, thank you.